Between ice and forests lies an extraordinary kingdom, a land of wolves, Vikings, blondes, and dreamers chasing their ambitions. Yes, this is Sweden. Now we're heading into the heart of Scandinavia, and get ready, this journey might just change the way you see life. In the north, this lush green country is ruled by a monarchy, but not the kind you might expect. For example, if you're in a cafe and there are no seats available, even the king himself could be turned away with a simple no space. With a population of around 10 million, Sweden's capital is Stockholm. But what makes this place truly special isn't above ground, it's below it. Can a country's metro system become a work of art? In Sweden, the answer is yes. Stockholm's metro is one of the city's top attractions, with each station uniquely designed like a piece of art. Since the city is built on rocky terrain, tunnels had to be carved through solid stone, resulting in stations that feel like underground art galleries. While walking around Stockholm, you might feel like everyone looks alike, as a large portion of the population is blonde. Even at a young age, you may see children studying outdoors in freezing conditions. This is done to help them connect with nature and build resilience against harsh environments. Speaking of education, the government provides high school students with around $200 per month as an allowance. By saving part of this money, a Swedish student can even travel to different countries during summer vacation. Of course, there are conditions. If a student delays their studies or has unnecessary absences, this support can be cut. We've just started the video, but the surprising facts keep coming. For example, if your pet gives birth, you can take up to 6 months of leave. Now, imagine having a child. You are entitled to 480 days of parental leave, which is nearly a year and a half. Fathers are required by law to use at least 90 days of this time to bond with their newborn. Additionally, if you board public transportation with a stroller, your ride is completely free. Let's get even more surprised. In Stockholm, for example, if you break traffic rules for 3 consecutive days, the fine you pay is given to a randomly selected person who has followed the rules. Quite an interesting way to encourage good behavior, isn't it? Here's another detail unique to Sweden. Only 2 people in the country use private drivers. One is the king and the other is the prime minister, and even then only on special occasions. There's even a humorous saying about it: we're not running a taxi service. While enjoying your coffee in Stockholm, you might find the Minister of Interior sitting at the next table, or see the Minister of Health next to you on a bus. That's because politicians here don't act like they hold special privileges. They don't receive lifelong pensions after serving, and their salaries are significantly lower compared to many other countries. There are no special parliamentary restaurants, and the apartments allocated to them are only about 42 square meters. Now let's take a closer look at the Swedish people. Their clothing style and way of life are simple and modest, far from luxury and excess. Shopping at secondhand stores is completely normal, and people don't look down on each other. In fact, most people won't even look at you at all. What does that mean? There's a common saying: if a Swede looks at you for more than 3 seconds, something might be wrong. Maybe your zipper is open, you've spilled something, or you've genuinely caught their attention. Otherwise, you'll feel almost invisible walking around. If you're meeting a Swede, being on time is essential. Even being a couple of minutes late might mean your friend has already left. They are also quite reserved when it comes to inviting people into their homes. If you invite them, they may find it a bit unusual. However, this doesn't mean they are antisocial. For example, Sweden has a cultural tradition called fika. It's a social coffee break where people enjoy pastries or sweets together. If someone says, "Let's have fika," it's an invitation you're expected to accept. It's a normal and appreciated part of daily life. In Sweden, people don't address each other by titles. No one introduces themselves as lawyer, professor, or similar roles, and such titles are not even included on business cards. This comes from the relatively small income gap between professions and the belief that a person is more important than their job. Now here's something even more interesting. Sweden is one of the leading countries in Europe for patents. If you have an idea, the government is ready to support you and provide the necessary resources. That's why many well-known inventions come from Sweden. In addition, Swedes are among the most avid readers in Europe, averaging about 7 hours of reading per week. Perhaps this is also why they have one of the longest education periods in the world, lasting around 25 years. Sweden is considered one of the most prosperous countries in the world. and many globally recognized brands actually originate from there. A significant portion of the world's household appliances come from Sweden. Brands such as IKEA, Volvo cars, Skype, Ericsson, and even Candy Crush Saga were created there. Now, let's take a look at Sweden's breathtaking nature. This is truly the land of green and white. Sweden ranks among the greenest countries on Earth, with around 65% of its land covered by forests, and hundreds of millions of trees planted every year. The country is also home to around 97,000 lakes. Families spend much of their social life near these lakes, while winter brings activities like skiing and sledding. The freezing climate has deeply shaped everyday life. Sweden is home to one of the world's first and largest ice hotels, rebuilt from scratch every single year. After the long and harsh winters, some regions even become warm enough for swimming during summer. Sweden is also one of the countries that cares most about nature and sustainability. It was among the first nations to aim for a future free from fossil fuels such as oil and coal. Biofuels are widely used, and even garbage is converted into energy. The recycling system is incredibly advanced. In fact, you can safely drink water straight from the tap almost anywhere in the country because it's as clean as natural spring water. There is also a special law in Sweden stating that everyone should have access to nature. Under this law, people are free to swim in lakes, pick fruit from nature, and even ride bicycles through certain privately owned lands. Did you know that Sweden is famous for the Nobel Prize? The renowned inventor and chemist Alfred Nobel held more than 355 patents, but he is best known for inventing dynamite. When his brother died, a newspaper mistakenly published Alfred Nobel's obituary with the headline, "The Merchant of Death is Dead." Deeply affected by this, Nobel decided to leave behind a better legacy and donated his fortune through his will to establish the Nobel Foundation. Although much of the population identifies as atheists or agnostic, Sweden is known for its strong respect toward different religions. In many places, you can even hear the call to prayer. Sweden is also among the countries that provide the most aid to poorer nations around the world. Now you might be wondering, doesn't this country have any downsides? Of course it does. One of the biggest struggles for Swedes is the lack of sunlight. In many parts of the country, the sun can remain hidden behind clouds for months. Because of this unusual balance between darkness and light, Sweden is sometimes compared to Middle-earth from The Lord of the Rings. Imagine it becoming completely dark at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. As a result, workdays often start and end early. In summer, however, the opposite happens. During the white nights, daylight stretches for incredibly long hours. And in the northern regions, the sun may remain visible almost 24 hours a day. There's also a common misconception worth correcting. Sweden is often believed to have one of the highest suicide rates in the world, but this is not accurate. Studies place the country much lower on the list than many people assume. There's so much more that could be said about Sweden that it could easily take hours. Finally, let's mention one more thing. Sweden is also one of the best places in the world to witness the breathtaking aurora borealis. Although it may not be the easiest place to live, it's definitely a country everyone should experience at least once in their lifetime. Hopefully, one day, your path will lead you there.